have got some fragrances to tell you about, some new ones, and they're from Lush. So I came home the other day from work and there was a parcel, had to go and knock my neighbour's door. The less said about this neighbour, the better. Anyway, the good news is she gave me my parcel and it was from Lush. And it's the new fragrances. There are 5 new fragrances from Gorilla Perfumes. And they sent me one of every one of them. So I am so grateful for that. So here's 3. They sent me the 30ml bottles. There's 3 of them there. And I thought I would just very quickly talk you through all of them because I've smelt them all now a few times and I thought I'd give you my thoughts on them. So let's start in no particular order. I'm going to start with Over and Over. Okay, so I've got some paper and I'm going to spray over and over onto the paper. I'm not going to spray it over and over, well, a few times. So this one instantly smells grapefruit-like to me, although it's actually lime that's listed. And as soon as you know it's lime, you understand that it's lime, but it does smell like grapefruit. It reminds me of Guerlain's, the Aqua Allegoria Pampaloon. It's kind of similar to that in that it's very textured and kind of bitter, citric smell. Very fresh. It could maybe be a little bit mistaken for cleaning fluid kind of citrusy smell, but I quite like it. There's a sweetness to the lime as well as a bitter tartness. Very fresh, and as I remember from the dry down, there's a little bit more going on in terms of a backbone to the fragrance. The ingredients show lime oil, cypress oil, fennel, orris oil. Now orris is extremely expensive and Lush do use natural oils, so there's actual orris oil in this, which I think is an excellent thing. It's nice to have expensive items in our perfumes. Makes us feel good. Lush fragrances are usually massively full of naturals and only a very, very minute amount of synthetics. It's why they have a slightly different feel to a lot of the fragrances that we're used to in the market. Because when there's a lot of synthetics, they kind of blend things out, smooth things over and make them feel all very well blended, where Lush fragrances can feel a little bit chunky, and in my experience sometimes they can be a little bit like you can, like someone has sat there with various essential oils and just plonked them together. But it's kind of a fun thing because you can imagine, you know, a laboratory and just like chucking stuff together and making fun stuff, like a fun factory kind of thing. But actually this smells really nice and very citrusy, very fresh, very tart, and one of my favourites actually. And Dan, Mr. Smelly, smelt it and that was one of his favourites too. Definitely unisex for that one. Next up, 2 More Hearts. 2 More Hearts. Now this one has some ingredients that I adore. What we have are roses and violets. I love roses and violets. Okay, oh, and ylang ylang as well. So you have ylang ylang, rose absolute, jasmine absolute, sandalwood, lemon, but they are your main ingredients. To me, it does. I said violet, and it does smell violetty to me, but actually violet's not listed. It smells a little bit like your lipsticky kind of smell. You know, like Chanel Missia or Paris from Yves Saint Laurent, that kind of mixture of iris, rose and violet that reminds you of really nice makeup. It's kind of in that ballpark, but it doesn't smell the same as those fragrances. It just smells similar-ish. Very, very powdery. You can smell the jasmine in there as well, which makes it different from a lot of those kind of fragrances. Kind of soapy, clean, soft, feminine, pretty. I think this one will appeal to girls more than boys, but very nice. One of my favourites again. Next, I'm going to go with Cocktail. Kind of like the sound of that. I wasn't sure whether I was going to get some kind of alcoholic cocktail smell, like a, what do you call them, those pineapple, oh, I can't remember what it's called. You get pineapple rum and cream and you have two and you feel sick, not because the alcohol, but just because they're so bloody rich. I was wondering if it might be like that, but it's not. This is more chunky, like I was saying. You can really smell the individual ingredients. They haven't kind of smoothly blended together and melded together like in your everyday perfume. You kind of will smell a little bit new age. There's ylang ylang in here. That's the one I noticed the most. You got ylang ylang and Ho wood oil, geranium, ylang ylang. So geranium smells, I think, oh hang on, I need my glasses. I think it says Ghanaian ylang ylang. I think it says Ghanaian ylang ylang rather than geranium. It's got coumarin in it, which is a derivative of the tonka bean. It can be found in many, many things, kind of hay. I think it's in hay or it smells like hay. Jasmine Absolute again. Now, Jasmine Absolute is another mega expensive ingredient, and that's in here naturally, very noticeably. Now, let me let my cat in before she breaks my door down. Come in, sweetie. Come on then, baby. In she comes. Sweetie is in the room. If she comes over, I'll show you her because she's just been groomed to within an inch of her life. She looks so smart. Okay, back to Cocktail. So yeah, this one really does smell very much of the ylang ylang. Almost a cough medicine, in a sweet cough medicine that you might have been given as a child. It's got a little bit of a medicinal feel. And then what I noticed is when it dries down, it gets very, very woody. So if you like a floral woody scent, then you may well like this one. Cocktail. Okay, next one. This one's called a Satin. So I had no clue what to expect with a fragrance called a Satin. Apparently they do a bath bomb and they've made the fragrance to match the bath bomb that's already in existence. Now this one is probably not my least favourite, my second to last least favourite. It smells a little bit boozy. It smells a little bit like a booze cabinet. So you've got the wood and the booziness, like you spilled a bit of booze over the wood cabinet over the years. Kind of got an aged feel as well, and some kind of greenery. Something in there that's slightly off-putting to my nose. Let's see what the ingredients are. Okay. Pine oil, lime oil, neroli, blackcurrant absolute, vanilla absolute, and that's another extremely expensive ingredient. Anise and other things. So it's reminding me of almost like someone's breath, like there's a warmth to it in a slightly off-putting way, like someone's breath after they've had a few drinks and maybe they had an interesting meal earlier. It's not really gross, it's just not quite my thing. Kind of maybe more of a man's fragrance with the greenery. It makes you feel like a fougere-ish kind of fragrance. Not really my cup of tea, if I'm completely honest about that one. So that's called Assassin. Thumbs up for the name, not so much for the way it smells. So next one up is Orange Blossom. Orange Blossom. This one sounds like it's going to be so simple and easy to love. Actually, it's my least favourite. I think the Orange Blossom is just too much for my nose, and I've realised lately, as much as I thought I loved Orange Blossom, if it's too strong in a fragrance, it makes me feel a bit sick, and that's what's going on in here. It's super sweet. Oh, Sweetie wants to go back out again. Sweetie gets what Sweetie wants, doesn't she? Hey, you're going outside. Shall I leave the door open for you? You can come and go then, can't you? Okay, Sweetie gets what Sweetie wants. So, there's a greenness in here. Now, Dan actually pointed out there's a note we both don't enjoy in Cologne Indelible by Frederic Malle, and it's also in Neroli Portofino Forte. It's in both of those fragrances. It's something green and bitter, and I think it's to do with the neroli. That smell, the bit that we don't like from those two fragrances, is also in here. It makes me feel a little bit sick. So don't be put off by my taste. You may well love this one. Ingredients are bergamot. Now please bear with me, I really can't read a lot of this, so if I'm missing stuff out, it's my eyesight. Bergamot, Lebanese neroli oil, orange flower absolute, another neroli and orange flower, very expensive ingredients. Rosewood oil, another expensive ingredient. You've also got sandalwood, and I think they're the main recognisable ingredients. So don't be put off by my review of this. It just doesn't work for me. Some of you may well love this if you really love your Orange Blossom Nerolis. You like them to be a little bit green, to be very sweet yet tempered with some bitterness. This could be the fragrance for you. Now my favourite one, I've left it till last. This is called Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. So, interestingly enough, it's kind of what I've been up to lately. I'm going through my own metamorphosis in a few different ways. I won't bore you with all the details, but I joined Slimming World a few weeks ago, and I'm doing slow but steady. I'm doing really pleased with myself, doing quite well, sticking with it. Also, I'm about to embark on getting my teeth straightened, so I'm going to have an Invisalign brace. I've just booked in for my initial scan to have that done, and I'm changing jobs. So on Monday night I start my first night shift in the control room where I work. So I work in a water company, and I was doing one thing, now I'm going to be doing something completely different. So I am metamorphosizing before your very eyes. And so how appropriate is it that my favourite fragrance from this line is called Metamorphosis, and I'm wearing it on my wrist. How do I start with this? It is definitely a labdanum fragrance. It is powdery, incensey, slightly orange, a bit like a Christmas orange, you know, like a pomander, kind of spiced orange. But you can smell the resins as well. You can smell the labdanum, that lovely powdery, sort of sticky, incensey thing. It's a bit sweet. It's definitely a Christmassy kind of scent to me. It's really, really nice, and it lasts ridiculously long on the skin. So that is my favourite. So that's the one I'll probably do a full review for you on. And if you're interested in a full review on any of the other ones, then please let me know. I have a feeling I'll review Two Hearts and probably Over and Over. And I'm sure that Dan will borrow some of these as well, because he was quite impressed with Over and Over. And I think he also liked Metamorphosis. It's kind of woody and almost like creosote-ish. Creosote is my favourite thing you can paint on a fence. That's a weird thing to say. Actually, creosote is banned now. You can't get it anymore. But when I grew up, in the summer, you'd be walking along and there's always someone that's out creosoting their fence, so like putting on like a varnish, and it just had this very distinct smell that is to die for. Kind of, it is woody, but it's also, if I can explain it, it's probably a bit similar to the violet leaf, the petrol note in Fahrenheit, in that kind of ballpark, but not that close. Oh, I don't know what I'm talking about. I am talking utter shit, so I'm going to leave it there. A massive, massive thank you to Lush for sending these to me. It's very, very generous and kind of you. And do let me know if you've smelt any of them. What are your favourites? What would you like me to review, if any? And I will catch you in the next video.